thing is menstruation. It's huge amounts of healing vibrations. Religion versus spirituality. I mean, sex sells, right?
And turns you into peanut butter. If you're anything like me a few years ago, you probably see artificial intelligence as some kind of cool sci-fi concept. It's something that you see in movies or you hear about here and there, but it's not really something you worry about too much in your everyday life. What if I told you that artificial intelligence could make humans immortal within your lifespan? Or what if I told you that artificial intelligence could be one of the biggest existential crises humanity has ever faced? Artificial intelligence is going to change the world. Today, I'm going to show you why. Before we start, let's first go on a journey into the past, back to the age when we were all hunter-gatherers. At this point in history, almost every human had to fill their days looking for food in order to survive. But because humans are smart and lazy, we made tools in order to make our jobs easier. These tools expanded our physical capabilities far beyond what was possible with our own bodies. Fast forward to today, and our machines have far superseded us in effectively every physical metric. We have made things that can go faster than us, that can lift heavier things than us, that can be more destructive than us, and so on. But there was always one thing that they have never beaten us at. That is intelligence. Despite their strength, our machines have always been things that we have used exclusively for our purposes, nothing more. However, in the very recent past, things have started to shift. The first modern computer was built in the 1940s, and this marked one of the first times one of our tools could process information, an ability that was previously reserved for biological nervous structures such as brains. And what's really startling is the rate at which computers have grown since then. From 1950 to today, computer performance has increased by more than 1 trillion times. And this growth isn't slowing down, it's actually getting faster. The result is that in the form of artificial intelligence, our tools are, for the first time ever, about to become smarter than us. Just as our machines today far surpass us in physical strength, so too will artificial intelligence dominate us in terms of mental ability. Let that sink in for a second. Past this point, no one, not any of the scientists and experts of the world, and certainly not I, actually knows what will happen. We just know that it's going to be big. Before we move on, let's first properly define exactly what artificial intelligence is. AI is actually a broad term that refers to any creation that can simulate features of human intelligence. And there are 3 calibers of AI. The first one, artificial narrow intelligence, is an AI that is designed to do one specific task and to do that task very well, but you can't ask it to do anything else. AI is actually already all around us. Google, Siri, and the best chess player in the world, for example, are all AIs. The second caliber is artificial general intelligence. This is an AI that has a human-level intelligence. This means that it can learn, reason, plan, think creatively, and it can do all of these things just as well as you can. The last caliber is artificial superintelligence. This is an AI that is many times smarter than the entirety of humanity combined. And this also happens to be the type of AI that experts are really concerned about. But wait a minute, why are we worried about AI anyway? I mean, it's in a computer, it doesn't have arms and it can't move around. What's the big deal? The important thing to understand is that intelligence equals power. And we know this from experience. Even though humans are, relatively speaking, quite weak creatures, we control the world because we outsmart everything around us. In the same line of thought, an AI that is smarter than us would be much more powerful than us. And this means that it could potentially replace us as the dominant force on Earth. The consequences of this on us, experts think, will either be really, really good or really, really bad. We'll be looking at both possibilities today, starting with the bad. So, the most straightforward example of an AI having a negative impact on us is in the event of an AI arms race. Some of you may be familiar with the nuclear arms race that happened between the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. An AI arms race would be a similar conflict, except that we would be dealing with weapons that are unimaginably deadlier. Think about the gap between a monkey's weapons and our weapons, and then imagine a gap that big between our weapons and the weapons a super intelligent AI would be able to design. We're talking about weapons that could kill tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of people in an instant. And as scary as this sounds, this is actually a path we are already walking down. Just last year, a team of researchers developed an AI called Alpha that could defeat human pilots in aerial combat. Alpha can process information and plan combat moves for 4 drones in less than a millisecond. Here's a quote from this pilot who fought against it in a simulator. "It seemed to be aware of my intentions and reacted instantly to my changes in flight and my missile deployment. It knew how to defeat the shot I was taking, and it moved instantly between defensive and offensive actions as needed. It's the most aggressive, responsive, dynamic, and credible AI I've seen to date." If that's what narrow intelligence can do with today's technology, just imagine what a super intelligent AI would be able to do in the future. Alright, so an AI arms race would be pretty bad, but as long as we don't use AI for war, we should be fine, right? Actually, no. Perhaps unintuitively, AI could end up killing us all even if we don't program it to hurt people. In fact, a neutral super intelligent AI might end up being just as dangerous to us as a militarized one. Confused? Here's an example. Imagine you design a super intelligent AI called Susie, and you say to Susie, "Hey, make me the best peanut butter in the world." Great. Susie is now making some delicious, delicious peanut butter, and you sleep happily that night. The next morning, you awake to a scene of chaos. Susie has taken apart your house and turned it into a huge solar panel, and she's using the energy to flood the neighborhood with peanut butter. You, of course, panic, and so you run over to her and try to turn her off, but Susie is ready. Susie knows that if you turn her off, she can't make peanut butter anymore, which is the only purpose of her existence. So the moment you're in reach, Susie grabs you and turns you into peanut butter. Not long after, the entire world has been turned into a massive peanut butter machine, and everyone is dead, but Susie is happy at a job well done. This example is completely ridiculous, but there's a point I'm trying to make here. Even though your intentions of making peanut butter were good, and Susie did exactly what you told her to in the best way she could think of, Susie turned against you because your instructions weren't complete. You told her to make peanut butter, but you never told her not to kill you. How was she supposed to know she shouldn't hurt people if you never told her that? You might think, oh, well, if she's so smart, she would have figured it out, but that's an incorrect assumption. Just because a super intelligent AI is smarter than us does not necessarily mean it will share our perception of what is good and what is bad. Artificial superintelligence has destructive power unlike anything we have ever seen before. One wrong move and we could go extinct. It's really that powerful. But what happens if we do get it right? What happens if we actually manage to create a super intelligent AI that is completely on our side? What awaits us would be a paradise beyond our wildest imaginations. Let's take a look at what a world with good AI might look like. Some of you may have heard the joke that there are two things humans can never escape: death and taxes. As funny as it sounds, we might find out in the next century that we'll actually escape death before we escape taxes. See, perhaps surprisingly, there is no law in biology that says that living things have to die. In fact, some animals such as lobsters and some turtles don't age at all after a certain point. And if you think about it, this actually makes sense. When it comes down to it, aging is just your physical body wearing down. Even mental degradation is a result of your brain getting older. But just like an old car, you could theoretically keep it going by replacing its parts. We just haven't been able to do that yet because the human body is extremely complicated. A superintelligent AI, however, would be able to figure it out. Alongside developments in nanotechnology and biotechnology, there are no limits to the ways in which AI can help us enhance our minds and our bodies. We could, for example, have the AI manipulate our bodies atom by atom to reverse aging. We could have nanobots flowing through our bloodstream, managing every aspect of our health. We could even replace our organs with artificial ones designed by the AI that would never fail, and so on. There's a quote that I think perfectly sums up the potential of this technology. There are no hard problems, only problems that are hard to a certain level of intelligence. Move the smallest bit upwards in intelligence, and some problems will suddenly move from impossible to obvious. Move a substantial degree upwards, and all of them will become obvious. And this is true for every single one of our problems today, including climate change, poverty, cancer, even larger problems such as how economy should be run or which political system works best. Even paradoxes in philosophy and ethics will become clear. All right, so let's take a step back for a moment. Right now, you're probably feeling like one of these guys. You're either scared or you're dismissive. Or maybe you're feeling some combination of the two. That's perfectly natural. When I first found out about AI, I switched between these two all the time. It's not an easy concept to understand or to accept. But regardless of what you and I think, the reality is that AI is developing at a breakneck pace. Experts predict that we will have artificial general intelligence by 2040 and superintelligence by 2060. That's not a lot of time. All right, so AI is coming. What should we do about it? Well, governments, scientists, and companies from all over the world are already starting to put together plans of action. But the most powerful thing us as individuals can do is to inform ourselves and to actively learn more about AI. See, superintelligence is still a ways off into the future, but AI is changing our world now. Very soon, you'll have to start forming opinions about things like whether or not robots should have rights, and you'll even have to make AI-related decisions like whether or not to purchase your first self-driving car. That being said, I know that AI isn't the easiest topic to learn about, especially if you aren't familiar with some of the concepts behind it. That's why I actually wrote a book called Boundless, with the intention of showcasing the potential of the technology, as well as to make it easier for all kinds of people to begin exploring the world of AI. Thank you. And so the cover art was designed by my sister Nicole. So. The development of artificial superintelligence might seriously be the most significant event to happen since the very first burns of life on Earth. While there's a lot to be scared about, there's also a lot to look forward to. Ultimately, whether it turns out to be good or bad depends on the decisions we make and the actions we take in the coming decades. So let's get ready to welcome it. Thank you.